Hey, what's going on, guys? Gubby here. Welcome back to another episode of Division Talk. Today's episode 3. We're going to be talking about essentially just the gunplay is what I'll call it. We'll talk about the fact that this game is a third-person shooter rather than the first-person shooter like Destiny or Halo or other games that I play like that. We'll also talk about some of the guns that are available that I saw in the beta, how the ammo structure and supply structure was set up in the beta, and then we'll also just talk about general thoughts of how this gunplay mechanics can relate to what we can see in future content of the game. So if you've missed episode 1 and 2, I've already talked about in episode 1 the graphics and UI and what I thought about that with the beta. And then I've also, just the last video in episode 2, I talked about some of the customizations that are available for your character and your weapons. So I'll put a link in the description and just a little information card in the top right corner now with those two videos. If you haven't seen episode 1 or 2, you don't have to necessarily watch them in order, but these are just kind of order of priority of what I think about the game so far. But anyway, let's just go ahead, get started what we're talking about today. Gunplay. So like I said, the Division beta, or the Division the game, we've experienced the beta, is a third-person shooter. It's not a first-person shooter. It's an over-the-shoulder, aim-down sight type of game. So third-person, you're seeing your whole character model. And to me, it when I think of third-person shooters, I think about the fact that it kind of takes me out of the game a little bit. Not always. It all depends on the world. And I talked about what I think about the world that they're building with the Division inside of New York's Midway in episode 1, so I'll just say that I think they're doing a good job with making yourself feel small in a big city, even with it just being Midtown unlocked in the full version of the game. But for third-person shooters, I think sometimes that I feel like I'm kind of taken out of the game because I can actually see the character model of the person that I'm playing rather than being in a first-person environment where I can see just the gun in front of me and then everything is kind of a reaction to my controls, everything that I can view, whereas you can see a lot more in a third-person game. That's not a bad thing. It's just different than what I have been playing recently. And when I say that, I haven't really played a third-person shooter, so I've played games like Tomb Raider and other adventure games like Assassin's Creed, but in terms of a first-person shooter, I haven't really played much or many games like that really since Gears of War, and that's kind of what this game reminds me of. And if you're going to do a third-person shooter, you need to do a shooter in the kind of style that Gears of War is and what we're seeing with the Division, whereas it's a very much a cover-to-cover type gameplay. So when we had the one mission unlocked and we got to experience kind of how we think the missions and possibly raids will be utilized inside this game, and that's really enemies. There's going to be a lot of enemies compared to you and your team, and you really have to strategically go from cover to cover to finish the mission, kill the boss, or just even get past through the room. And that's something that the Gears of War does really, really well, and that's something that I'm seeing the Division do very well. I really, if you are standing up and you're out in the open and you're aiming down your shoulder to fire at the enemies, you're going to die, and you're going to die quickly. You really have to utilize the cover that is positioned in the game for you to succeed and to kill the enemies. It's not just sitting behind a couch, but you have to use it strategically, like having friends draw some cover fire and draw fire from enemies for you as you can go from cover to cover, running from cover to cover around them to get a flank or something like that. And that's something that we saw in the first mission, but also in the Dark Zone, when you're trying to evacuate some loot that you've gotten, or you're trying to even just hide from rogues, or even attack rogues, or even hide as a rogue. Cover was very, very important when playing this game inside of the PvP environment, and also playing against the AI inside the Darkness Zone and outside of it. So I think what we've seen so far, it's going to be it's different than a game like Destiny because it is third person, but you're gonna have to play it differently, and that is strategically. So it adds a different layer to the game. It's not the same, it's different, and that could be a good thing if you enjoy that experience, which I have in the beta. So I'm still looking forward to be able to do more and actually just plan modes of attack with friends when we're doing these missions, or trying to save our loot, or even just attack some rogues or be rogues ourselves, because that was also very fun. So the weapons that I experienced and that I saw in the beta, I'm not sure if these are all the weapon types that we're going to be seeing, but the way that your character weapons are set up is you have two, I call them two primary weapons, essentially. It's a primary and a secondary weapon, then you have a sidearm, which is a pistol. So the primary and secondary weapon can be any type of weapon that is not a sidearm. So you have, what I saw, an assault rifle, a marksmanship rifle, which is similar to a scout rifle, if you're familiar inside of Destiny. So it's a single shot rifle that you can also put on some pretty long, like 12 times zoom scopes. So it's very similar to a semi-automatic sniper rifle from games like Battlefield 4. You also have large machine guns, shotguns, and then SMGs, so like Uzi type guns or P90 type guns, that type of thing. So those are the weapon types that I saw in the game. And the way the ammo is set up is you have primary and secondary ammo that is split up by weapon type. So you have assault rifle ammo, you have LMG ammo, you have shotgun ammo, you have SMG ammo, and then your pistol ammo is actually just unlimited. So pistol ammo is actually really fun if you want to clean up some low-level ads and you don't want to use any of your primary or secondary weapon ammunition, or if you want to just attract ads or attract people to the gunfire, you can just fire off your pistol no matter what, and you're going to have infinite ammo. So it's a nice thing that they added. And another thing is the pistols actually do pretty decent work. I mean, you shouldn't be running around with just a pistol because the pistol's DPS is much lower than your primary or secondary weapons, but it does good cleanup work. So if you're using your primary ammo and you need to reload, but that person or AI or whatever is almost dead, you can pull your pistol out really fast and clean them off. And this outside of much of the gunplay, but in order to switch weapons, so like Destiny, it's Y to switch from primary to secondary and hold Y for Xbox to go to your heavy weapon, your third weapon. In this game, it's very similar. You switch by pressing change weapon once, so Y, and then if you double tap Y, it'll switch to your pistol. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. We talked about some of the gunplay, the fact that it's third person. It's kind of like Gears of War-ish, so you're really going to want to think about that when going into this game, and then just talked about some of the weapons that are available. I'm hoping that we will get to see some legitimate sniper rifles. I really enjoyed the marksmanship rifle and having that semi-automatic long range option, but it would be really cool to have some type of bolt action rifle that just hits a lot harder because you do have the one bullet in the chamber at a time. So it would be really cool. I like playing long distance, so I would really enjoy having a medium range assault rifle with a sniper rifle as a secondary, and then your sidearm that you have on infinite ammo. And so I'm hoping they have some stuff like that, but even if they don't, the amount of weapon types is still enough to be able to customize your character and customize your options of your play to really perfect what you want to do inside of the game. So I'm enjoying that, and I like the future of that so far. But I hope this video helped, guys. Next episode, I think we're going to be talking about the missions and side quests and what to do inside of the game outside of just the PvP Dark Zone. So that'll be episode 4. Like I said, if you need to check out episode 1 and 2, link in the description up in the top right. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope your day is beer and Skittles. And as always, thanks for tuning in.